When people ask me what it felt like, I mean, there's our tires and our shocks are there to absorb everything from hits. There was no shocks and no tires with that landing. So I landed on all chassis. You know, I have a head and neck restraint. I have a Hans device. I have a helmet. Our safety is amazing. It's surreal for me. I grew up watching Monster Jam, and so to be out here and being a driver today, it feels like a dream.
You talk about, I grew up watching Monster Jam, but there was someone that opened the door for you to get in El Toro Loco. Who was it and how did it happen?
Tom Mentz, actually. I met him at CMA Fest in Nashville, Tennessee, and I told him I was a drag racer, so I have a motorsports background. I started racing when I was 8, and I said I would love to drive one of these Monster Jam trucks. Like, what would it take? And so he resume and a bio, and so I did that. I sent it in, and that was 6 years ago, and I was sitting at the gym, and I was going through my emails, and I had an email asking if I was still interested. I applied several years ago, and I was like, I didn't even live in North Carolina at the time. I was like, where was I at? And I looked at the emails. It was almost 6 years to the day, and I went through the whole auditions, went through interview auditions, driving auditions. And then when I got the call to go international first, so I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm on an international tour. And then when I got the call to be on Stadium Tour Blue in El Toro Loco, I dropped everything. I didn't even know what was going on with work. And I was like, I'm going to go drive monster trucks for the day. I'm excited.
Where were you working?
Actually, I work in a restaurant, so I was doing machine work. So I actually have a machining background. I went to UNOH. I studied high performance automotive, and I got my CDL through UNOH also. So I worked in a race shop for a long time, tried to pursue my own racing career. And so I've worked in engine shops, I've worked in machine shops, and then, I kind of wanted to step back, focus on my racing. So restaurant was kind of easier to, be flexible. So, which is now it's the most flexible thing I have to be able to drive these Monster Jam trucks, come out here. I'm actually, after I leave this tour, this is my last stop with Stadium Tour Blue. Sadly, I'm excited to get back on international, but actually for South Africa. And thank goodness my job is very flexible. I'm gone for 4 weeks. So I have 3 stops in South Africa, and then we go to Abu Dhabi right after that. So I'm about to see the world and drive Monster Jam trucks in front of worldwide fans.
We talked off mic about how your first stop was Sweden, and now you're about to go to South Africa and Abu Dhabi. Yeah. Did you ever in a million years dream that would be possible? I mean, driving Monster Jam trucks in the U.S., sure, but worldwide?
Worldwide is insane to me. So when it came the opportunity to me to be international, it was one thing that I was like, to even have a seat was a great opportunity, and to even audition and try out was a great opportunity. So to be having a seat, when I get in those trucks and I see the nameplate with my name on it, it's like, wow, this is me. Like, I drive this, or I see my name like pop up on the ribbon boards and, my picture pop up. It's still like, no matter how many times I drive, gives me chills. Like, it's giving me chills right now, like, even talking about it. Cause being a little kid, this is all I wanted to do. I wanted to be in somewhere in motorsports, and Monster Jam opening the door for me was insane. It was crazy when I had a story done on me before Monster Jam even came back up. And I found this picture of me when I was probably about 3 years old. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. So they used to do displays at Opryland amusement park it was. And there was a Monster Jam truck on display, and I was 3 years old, and I'm sitting inside this tire. And I actually showed Bari at my auditions, and he says, you need to put that in your truck if you make it. And I was like, all right. So my first event in Sweden, I printed the picture off, I put it inside my truck. And when I did my first racing pass and I was out there driving, I said, that little girl would be so proud. I wish I could tell her that I was going to make it one day. And here I am in Glendale about to do my second big stadium.
Do you still have that picture in your truck?
No, I haven't. It's on my fridge at home, but I have it. It's all over my social medias because, it's inspiring for, little kids, and especially little girls. That was one thing, growing up, I was so much into you would never see me without a Jeff Gordon or a Bill Elliott shirt on growing up. I always had any kind of motorsports on. I loved racing, and, to be that little kid. And someone asked me, they're like, do you want to drive these when you get older? I'm not a race car. And I said, no, I'm going to still do it while I'm young. So I started when I was 8, and I grew up loving it. And to be that little kid, at these events, and it's cool to, I watched Gravedigger. I mean, of course, I was a Gravedigger fan when I was a little kid. What kid's not? And actually, I found the plush toy that they still sell with a bunch of Monster Jam drivers, signatures on it, and I still have it. And, to look at the stuff that I have that I took from my tours, like my dad paints me custom shoes to match my trucks for pit parties. So I have those, I sign them, and, I pick up little knick-knacky things that we find along the way. I have a ticket from a Ferris wheel from Seattle. So I put these in these little showcases so I can remember what I did at that stop, because it goes by so quick and I just want to soak it all in and take pictures. I take videos. I try to really, take it all in and like never stop enjoying this. I'm having a blast, and all these drivers out here with me, they really make it very easy for me to enjoy it. And, they're out here cheering me on, and I'm learning a lot from them too.
You take car maintenance seriously, and you want to pass on that legacy of care. Use Lucas Heavy Duty Oil Stabilizer to shield your engine from excessive heat, debris, and friction. Trust Lucas Oil. It works.
You are actually taking this whole thing in. This interviewing process is amazing as well. You and I off mic were talking about how you weren't so sure about the interview part. How did this become easy for you? Because you're making it look easy.
Oh, thank you so much. It was one thing, like when I went through first auditions, I like almost didn't know what I was saying. I didn't know what I could say next. It was hard to process. And I think a lot of excitement was in there too in my first auditions. And, the excitement's still there and the nerves are still there, but it's kind of easier to talk to people. The more I do it, we sit through, like Barry said, 4-hour pit parties. So I talk to people all the time, and that's helped me out. And, just in general, like just talking to people, I'm great at that. But talking in front of a camera, I was like, clamming up. But now it's fun. Like this is my job. I want to inspire other girls, inspire young kids that want to do this one day, because it's possible. So the audition and the interviews have gotten fun. When I get nervous, it's not fun. When I'm having a good time and talking to people and kind of telling my story. A lot of people don't know where I came from. So, that was one thing. Like when I tell people I'm a drag racer, I came from this, I worked hard to get here, and it wasn't a quick, easy process. It took me 6 years. So to be here today, I'm so thankful. And I'm beyond excited to be on Stadium Tour Blue, because this is an insane opportunity to even be a rookie in a stadium. So I'm still trying to take it in. I'm kind of sad that this is my last stop with them.
Oh, South Africa is calling your name, though.
It's going to be so fun, for sure.
I heard you say Jeff Gordon. I heard you say Bill Elliott. So I'm assuming you're a Chase Elliott fan. Who in drag racing? Because you said you also drag raced.
John Force, for sure, probably, because, growing up, who wasn't a John Force fan? So that was one thing that, and his daughters did it too. And one of the other drivers on Monster Jam Tour is Ashley Sanford. She raced Top Fuel too. So it was pretty cool that, and me and her went through auditions together. So being a friend of hers, and we went through we lived together for a whole month, bouncing ideas off each other and, saying, and we were if we would do good, we were like, oh my gosh, you did so good. Or if we did bad, we'd try to make the other one feel good, because mistakes happen. I mean, I learned mistakes happen in Seattle 2 weeks ago. So that was one thing, it was cool. So I look up to her too. So it's cool. And we have a personal relationship. So it was cool to have that as a friend and professional too.
Let's end it with this. When you see a truck roll on its carriage or the back lip goes awry, those are pretty badass. But what you did in Seattle, it wasn't that dynamic for people in the stands. But if you really watch that video of you landing on the backside of your truck, that's gnarly. And when I cringed when I saw that, because I just thought about your back and your head. Were there repercussions from that?
Our safety equipment is so good. When people ask me what it felt like, I mean, our tires and our shocks are there to absorb everything from hits. There was no shocks and no tires with that landing. So I landed on all chassis. I have a head and neck restraint. I have a Hans device. I have a helmet. Our safety is amazing. But landing on a cage, it kind of felt like 12,000 pounds was just landing in my lap. And it was so abrupt, and it was so quick. I look at videos. The video was 11 seconds from me going up to that backside of that race lane to where I landed, and I got up back on 4 wheels. When I was like, oh my gosh, I got to get this truck back down. I don't want to roll backwards. So, and when I came to I was like, oh gosh, I can put it back down. And so I felt good as a rookie being able to do that, but it about took the breath out of me, but it was cool from the outside just as much as it was in the inside, and to watch videos and hearing the crush of the truck. And when I saw it after I got out of the truck, I was like, well, done for freestyle. But I finished 5th in 2 wheels out of 12 veteran drivers out here. I finished 5th in 2-wheel skills. So taking that back, I felt really good, because being a rookie, I finished in the top half of the field for 2 wheels. And that's, and I won donuts in Vancouver, and I guess I came in 2nd in freestyle. So taking that away from this tour, I did good. I felt like I did exactly what I needed to do. I got more seat time, and having all these drivers out here kind of leading me, it's amazing.